my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay. Okay. So thank you all for joining this series of sessions, job search sessions, the Career Go community. Today, we'll be discussing the topic of how to succeed as an immigrant. Our speaker, Faris, is gonna walk us through lots of great insights. As kind of administration discussion. This call will be shared and streamed on social media and YouTube. So if you're not comfortable being streamed, please leave the session right now. The community, will be boosting your networking and practice yours and will boost your practice and skills and knowledge. So if you're comfortable, want to share your LinkedIn profile in the chat so people can join your network and connect with you. This will help you as well, increase and expand your network. Our target is to get everyone in a job they love, as well as find their full potential. So the call is going to be, delivered by Faris, some slides, and then we'll leave some space at the end for Q&A. So if you want to raise your hand, use the raise hand feature, and limit some questions to 2 minutes so that give a chance to others to ask questions as well. In terms of housekeeping, we do surveys at the end of each call, so please, provide us with your feedback. Your voice matters. It's just going to be a 1 minute to fill that survey, and it's very important for us to understand what you're looking for in the next coming sessions. The group selfie, we normally take that at the end as a memory for this great community and use it also for our marketing in social media as well. As a gesture, and again, this whole sessions are all voluntary by the speaker and by everybody who's helping to get this done. So please feel free to give kudos and recommendation to speakers. They've done great impact. They're volunteer with their time and effort to help you with their wisdom. Our promise is, if you continue attending those sessions and applying what you learn, you definitely gonna get hired within 3 to 6 months. This, happened to me, and whenever I learn more and whenever I apply things, I get more opportunities. Especially if you do networking. So you will not walk alone. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us through LinkedIn, through Facebook, through other social networks, email as well, so that we can help you. Apply what you learn, ask questions, be curious, teach others. Those are key things to help you really land a job faster. Our goal, ambitious goal, we want to get 1,000 plus people hired in 2021 through this platform. So, we really want you to apply and tell us, if you're not getting results, we could, give you some other ways to help you. And whenever you get hired, please let us know. I know Hisham, he was attending with us previously. He just got hired this week, so that's a good news. So again, if you keep applying what you're learning, definitely you will get hired. Our ask to you is, engage and ask questions. Be comfortable, asking any question that you comes in your mind, because this is how you will learn. This is how you will grow, and ask others to join this as well. Like so many people need this forum to help them grow. So if you can be kind and share this forum with others, so that we get more audience in those sessions. Coming up, so the long weekend, we'll take a break. We'll not have any session this Sunday. However, next Thursday, we have a speaker who is going to speak about, the life balance, specifically through food and stress and other things that is happening. So the call is going to be from how to wow, and it's a personal experience journey by the speaker who had been burnt out and stressed due to the financial and the workload in one of the big firms, and she will share her story, and she will tell you how did she recover from cholesterol and other things through a life balance technique. Today's call, again, how to succeed as an immigrant. The objective is to share tips on how to build a personal brand, mindset, networking, how to capitalize on your unique traits. Our speaker, Faris, is a coach for introverts, understands themselves better and capitalize on their natural superpower, so that they can thrive in their life and career. Additionally, he teaches business, leadership, and personal development courses at various colleges, run multiple mastermind groups, leadership roundtables, and facilitates corporate training and seminars. He is former board of directors of the Vancouver International Coach Federation. Before becoming a coach, Faris was in the corporate world in marketing and business development roles, serving different clients ranging from startups to Fortune 500 companies. With that, I will hand it over to you, Faris. The floor is yours. Welcome on board.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for the kind intro. Hearing about what you do in your intro, that's fascinating and inspiring. That's amazing work you're doing for the community. All right. I'm still not very familiar with Teams. I use Zoom, and I'm wondering, is there an option where I can see everyone, or the reason why I'm not seeing everyone because some of the people are of video, right?
Yeah, some maybe is not comfortable having the video. So if, again, we encourage everybody to be in camera if possible. This is one of the important things for this period of time. So be present. Thank you, Ellen. Yeah, and if anyone also want to join, that's great. Regis, thank you. Yeah,
And no pressure. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I was really wondering. All right, great to see you. All right, so I'm assuming most of you here are immigrants. Is that right? It's interesting. For many years, I resisted the word immigrant, although there's nothing wrong with it. But I found it, the word has some connotation like I'm new to the country. And again, that's also a fact, new to the country. But anyway, now I embrace it and enjoy being an immigrant too. I'm curious, how many years have you been in the new country you are in? Assuming, are you all in Canada or US and Canada?
I'm here for 1 year and 3 months.
In Canada?
Yeah, in Canada. I'm living in Halifax now.
Oh. Who else wants to share where you are now?
3 years for me.
3 years. Canada as well?
Yeah.
Oh.
2 months, Canada, Halifax.
Wow, fresh. Where did you come from?
Brazil.
Nice. Beautiful country. I'd love to go there one day after COVID, hopefully. All right, so great to see you. I'll share a bit about me. I'm originally from Jordan. I was born in Jordan, grew up in Dubai, and then moved to Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada in 2014. And I've been living here since with my wife. We have a 3-year-old son, and now this is home for us. We love it here. I like was mentioned in the intro, I'm a life coach. So before becoming a life coach, I used to be in the corporate world in Dubai, mainly working in marketing. And then when we moved here, before we moved here, I decided I want to do a career switch and become a coach because I realized I'm so passionate about self-development, self-growth. And I was started feeling unfulfilled in the corporate world. So to cut the story short, I arrived to a conclusion that this is what I love to do, to do coaching. So I left that, came to Vancouver with my wife, and then I went to college for 1 year. I studied coaching and counseling. And then after I finished with that training, I started my own business, which is, I call it, or it's called Quiet Leadership Coaching. Why it's called Quiet Leadership is because I focus on working with introverts. And just for us all to be on the same page, an introvert is a person that recharge by being by themselves, and they get depleted around stimulating environments, which includes people, noise, sounds, all that. So that's the major difference between introverts and extroverts. Extroverts, they get energy when they're around stimulation. And there's a lot of misconception, which I'm not going to go into, but I just want to highlight it's not shyness. Introversion is just where you gain and lose energy. So that's my focus. Why do I work with introverts? Because I discovered I was an introvert 10 years ago. And when I discovered I am an introvert, it made a huge difference to my life. I started understanding myself better, and I started understanding how to take care of my energy. So, and I noticed also there's a lot of misunderstanding and bias against introverts. Usually when you hear introvert, there's a negative connotation, like that person is shy, antisocial, awkward, which is of course not true, but that's the stereotype and generalization. So with my work, my intention to help introverts understand themselves better, and for extroverts to understand introverts as well. So that's me in a nutshell. I've been doing this for 5 years. And of course, I work with all personality types, but that's my focus. So yeah, today I would like to share my journey, which I think I already shared, but I'll go in more details. And the second thing, the learnings. What did I learn moving from Dubai to Canada, Vancouver, and how I managed to thrive in this in a new place. So when I today thought about it, it boiled down to three things. Do you want to guess what I found the key learning and what made it? I don't want to use the word success because success means different things to different people. But how did I thrive in a new country? I realized it's three things. Anyone would like to guess what are one of these three things?
Networking.
Yes, that's one. What's the second one?
Adaptability.
Wow. Yep. I put it under mindset, but under mindset there is adaptability. Yes. And the third one. Okay, I'll share that. Enough with the quiz. The third one is self-awareness. So really, between self-awareness and understanding. So understanding who I am.
Are you sharing your screen, Faris?
No, I'm not. But that's a good reminder to share my screen. All right, let me do that. I need to start getting used to Teams. Okay, I found it. Sorry. All right, share screen. Screen one. Do you see? I clicked on your LinkedIn, so that's Mike. All right. So, do you see my screen?
Yes, we can see that.
All right. So, like I said, the key learnings are these. Seriously, like no matter how I looked at it, it boils down to these three things. So let's start with mindset. Who's familiar with the concept or the term growth mindset? So growth mindset was popularized by the author Carol with the book Mindset. It's a great book if you're interested in this topic. But in a nutshell, a growth mindset is a mindset which is opposite to fixed mindset. Like you're open to change. You see challenges as an opportunity for growth. You appreciate feedback because, you know, with feedback, you can learn and tweak what you want to work on. You try new things. Adaptability is one of them as well. You adapt to new environments. You have that positive mindset. So all this falls under the growth mindset. And with the growth mindset, I find common, especially if I want to talk about immigration and immigrants, there's two ways of looking, like some people look at immigration like, first I want to acknowledge it's a hard move, of course. You're moving from one country to another. There's different lifestyles, different culture, weather, ways of doing business and all that. So I acknowledge that. And it's hard. So I'm not gonna brush it off and say it's easy. It's hard. However, once you acknowledge that, then What do you want to do with that? There's two. If you go with the fixed mindset, you can fall into the victim mentality and say, oh, it's hard, or no one hires immigrants. Do you need Canadian experience? And you can go into the list of things that are obstacles. You could say, oh, because I don't speak fluently in English, that's a challenge. Some people might fall into the economy, or some people. So it's limitless what you can think of if you go that direction. You can go into the other, which that direction I personally think doesn't help. It limits you. Then the other direction is to be open to possibilities and think, okay, what can I do with what I have, and how can I be creative? So for example, let's talk about a common one, the Canadian experience. Most companies, they say we need Canadian experience. I acknowledge, and it is true. There's most companies, maybe they will ask for that, but that doesn't mean that's the only way. There's ways around it. So for example, I'll share with you a real example. I'll use my wife as an example. When we moved here, she started going to interviews, and they said we need Canadian experience, and she doesn't have Canadian experience. And we don't want to go into why. Like, I don't agree with that philosophy that you need a Canadian experience. But let's leave that on the side and go with that. What she did, she started looking for companies that are similar or competitors to the ones she worked in Dubai. So that made it easier. So when she went to companies, even if they asked her for Canadian experience, she would say, okay, I don't have that experience, but I worked with your main competitor in Dubai. And that helped. She also she used different creative mediums to reach out to companies. So the resume didn't work. She didn't say, oh, resumes don't work, and then sit at home and do nothing. Then she started thinking of different ways. She started going through LinkedIn and directly messaging the hiring managers, and sometimes even the CEOs, and explaining why she feels she's a fit for that company. I want to unshare my screen. I feel weird talking to the slide. All right, so I'm not saying like my wife is an example. It's just one example of how you can be creative about it, and instead of going into the victim mentality, go into creative ways. So through that, through LinkedIn, she managed to get her first job. After a year or two, she wanted another job. What she did, she went to a career fair, but strategically, knowing that the CEO of that company is going to be in that career fair. And then she prepared what she wants to share with that CEO, and she went straight to her, and she pitched her idea, and then she got hired. What I'm trying to say with that, there are obstacles, but there's ways around them, and you can be creative how you want to do it. In my case, I started my own practice, so that's a bit different. But still, what really worked for me is the mindset again. Being okay, it's a new it's a new country, different laws, different industry. I kept the learning, what do you call it, the learning and growth attitude, learning new things, and then I managed to start the company. Which takes me to the second point. What was a huge factor, I think, to my success as a business was relationships. Networking you can look at networking in different ways. Some people look at networking maybe in when you say, actually, I'll ask you that question. When I say networking, what's the first thing comes to your mind? Or what's the image comes to your mind?
Connections.
Yeah. Connections. What else?
Support.
Support. Yeah. I love it. You have a, sorry?
Engaging.
Engaging, yeah.
Self-branding.
Yes.
Funds.
Sorry?
Funds.
Yeah. Interesting. That's not what I was expecting you to say, but I love it because you're looking at it from a positive, healthy perspective. But usually when I ask what's networking, people think immediately of a big conference room, overwhelming, many people exchanging business cards. And that's one way. and that's one way of networking, but that's not the only way. The other ways, like you were saying, it's connection. You can network. It could be going to the coffee shop and talking to the person on the table next to you. So there's many forms of networking. But for some reason, most people think of that and immediately they say, oh, I hate networking because it seems intimidating. And I personally, as an introvert, I don't like that big type of networking. But that doesn't mean that's the only way. My way was one-on-one, reaching out to people one-on-one. I don't know, I didn't ask you that question. I don't know how many introverts or extroverts in the room, but for introverts, we thrive in one-on-one communication rather than one-to-many. So I capitalize on my trait and my strength, which is one-on-one. So what I used to do almost, you could say, I don't know, 3 times a week, I meet 3 different people one-on-one, not through a group. So I reach out to them either through email, LinkedIn, or I meet them when I meet someone at a group. I then ask them if they want to meet for coffee. So I started meeting people one-on-one, and this way I'm in my element because it's my environment, like it's what I enjoy doing, and I get to know them more. And maybe it's a slower pace, but in the long term, imagine if you meet 3 new people a week, imagine in a year how many people you can meet. So many. So that really helped me. And every time I met someone, it leads to something else. You never know. And to be honest, I didn't have any intention behind it. Like I wasn't thinking I want to meet that person because I need that thing. I didn't have anything I need. I just purely was interested to learn and about this new culture and get to know people. So I didn't have any agenda aside from just curiosity. And then meeting one person after another, that really expanded my network. So that was key. And social media really helped me. Like I have a hate-love relationship with social media. It can be distracting and it could be unhealthy, but at the same time, there's positives to it. So the positives, I managed to meet so many people through it. I remember once I was sitting in a coffee shop and I was scrolling through Twitter. Like who would have thought even Twitter can be effective? And someone stood out for me on Twitter. He was someone based in Vancouver that helps companies, help businesses build their business. But what I liked about him, he only helps companies that make a positive impact on the world. So that really spoke to me. So immediately I just sent him a DM, said, I love what you do and I'd love to meet you for coffee. And he said, yes, thank you. And when we met for coffee. And just that step on Twitter, like really built a great relationship with him. Till today, we're good friends, and that opened. And I didn't have an agenda, but that opened so many doors. One, I started collaborating with him because he helps businesses, and I have marketing background, and I'm a coach. So I had at some point, actually, no, what happened? I joined his program as an entrepreneur. So I joined the program, and then after the program, I became one of his consultants, and I started teaching mentoring other entrepreneurs starting their businesses, and from there it opened many doors. So that's just one step. Twitter DM that opened that. Another example I have. Someone on Instagram sent me a DM, said I like the photos you post online. It wasn't like photos of me, but photos of the scenery. And then I said thank you, and then we started talking back and forth. She was an event organizer. She said, I forgot who said, either me or her, let's meet for coffee. We met for coffee. Then she said in 3 weeks, she's organizing a big event for entrepreneurs in Vancouver, and she's looking for speakers. And then when I shared my story, she said, do you want to be one of the speakers? And that was a long time ago, like that was 2015. At that time, I never spoken on stage in front of anyone. Like it was a big, I don't know, maybe 1,000 people. And then I said, okay, without even thinking about it. And then I spoke at that event. And that event, because I spoke there, so many people saw me, that opened doors to other events and other speaking engagement. So my point, the moral of the story is simple steps. Connecting with someone on LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter can lead to many things. So in other words, putting yourself out there, which requires maybe courage. Like it wasn't easy. When I said yes to speaking on stage, I was speaking out, of course. I never spoke on stage, but I thought I'll say yes, then I'll deal with the consequences, and I dealt with it. So, so relationships really, it really helped. Another point I want to mention on relationships, I used to go to a lot of meetups, workshops in Vancouver. At some point, I started feeling like I know a lot of people in Vancouver. Like I started recognizing people on the street, etc., just because going to meetups. And then I created my own meetup, and that also took it on a different level. When I created my meetup, that gave a lot of exposure. At some point, my meetup got around 1,000 members, and every month I used to talk about different topics, like these kind of topics, once a month, and have a networking event around it. So that was a huge, I feel, a huge factor to my business. Just having meetups, and this was free of charge, so it wasn't a business. There was no agenda. It was volunteering, getting to know people. And to be honest, at some point it got overwhelming. After 2 years doing that, I stopped it because it was a lot of work to manage these events. But it did its job for that period of time. So I want to stop here, and we didn't talk about the third one. So we spoke about relationships and mindset. So far, any thoughts or questions on these two areas? What are your? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Do you consider yourself still an introvert, or you would say that changed?
Good question. Believe it or not, like from what you're hearing, probably you think I'm not, but I'm an extreme introvert. I'm an 80% introvert. So that's the thing. The definition of introvert, it's not shyness, it's energy. Where do you gain and lose energy? So these events used to deplete my energy. So yeah, I admit it's a lot of energy outwards, but I have a strategy, and that's what really helped. After any event or any interaction, any stimulation, I give myself self-care time. So let's say I do an event, then the next day, definitely I'm not doing anything. I'm gonna just stay at home. So that balance, I give out, but then I rest, give out, rest, give out, rest. I'm curious, do you relate to that in terms of introversion? Do you feel if you give yourself enough rest, you can be out and about?
Yeah, if you want to chime in or share in the chat, go ahead, Pablo.
No, I was thinking about it, and yeah, sometimes I feel I'm kind of the same when I'm exposed. I mean, really often, and then I just need, some space for myself, and then I charge my batteries again and can go out. That's kind of the thing that happens to me.
That awareness is key, and that's the third piece I want to talk about later on, the self-awareness. Once you understand yourself and what works for you, what recharges you, what depletes you, then you can do it strategically. And it becomes second nature. Like you don't even have to think about it. Maybe in the beginning, yes, but then it becomes automatic that you don't have to think about it. You just do activities that recharge you and activities that give you rest throughout the day. From your experiences, at the moment, are you going to networking event? Oh, now because of COVID, but are you doing some kind of networking online? And is it working for you?
Yeah. I can say it's working. I mean, I never thought it was gonna work at the beginning because I'm not even in Canada yet, but it's working. I mean, it's difficult at the beginning because you need courage, and I mean, you're sometimes afraid that someone is gonna reject you or something, but once you start doing it, it gets easier with time. I mean, it's still not easy for me, but I'm trying, and it's giving me some results.
That's awesome to hear. You raised a great point about fear of rejection. I don't know from your experience, but from my experience, people genuinely and generally are helpful. Like the probability of acceptance and rejections are like the acceptance is very high. Like probably 90% of the time, they would say, yes, let's meet, let's get to know each other. How was your experience, or is your experience?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It's just a matter of trying, and then you start realizing that you have, I mean, the rate that you're mentioning, and it gets, I mean, easier, and it like gives you hope to keep doing it. Yeah, it's amazing. I can say that it's really, really an experience for me.
That's great. And that brings me to think of the other way around. Like when people reach out to you, probably you are also being receptive. So it's, you know, it's reciprocating. Like I also get a lot of these requests on LinkedIn. This morning I had a request from someone, especially from introverts. I get a lot because on LinkedIn it says I work with introverts. So many introverts reach out to me for advice, and it's not coaching because they just want to have a call. So it's a free call. It's probably 30 minutes. But I say yes to these coffee or virtual coffee meetings. So the same idea. When I receive those, I don't think in my head, I want to say no. I want to help. And I'm thinking most people love to help too, like generally speaking. And if there's a rejection, it's not personal. It's just a reflection of that person, or maybe they're busy, nothing to do with you. All right, I want to go back to the slides. All right.
Does anyone have any other questions, maybe, or want to chime in? No. Again, please try to be curious and ask questions. This is how you will grow. This is how you will really get to know more.
Hi.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, I'm Yiling. I'm from Ottawa. Nice to meet you guys. So I'm currently a new graduate from university. I finished my master's degree. I'm in the process of seeking for a job. And recently, I did a lot of like these online meetings to reach out, kind of to build my relationship network. This kind of thing. So I have a question for you. How you keep the relationship you built for years, like more deeply, or like in a strong way?
Wow, yeah, that's a fantastic question. Because there's two things. There's connecting with people, and then the other 50% of the relationship is maintaining it, right?
Yes.
So how do you keep it? Love that question. It's making me reflect. Because maybe I'm doing it without thinking about it. Continue with staying in touch, and it doesn't have to be frequency, because I'm, at least for me personally, relationships is not about the frequency, it's about the depth. So even if every 3 months I'm keeping in touch with different people, depending of course on the relationship, but generally speaking, like every couple of months, reaching out, asking how they're doing, anything I can support them with, and on different social media platforms. So sometimes I keep it spontaneous, like it's not a plan, like, okay, in 3 months, I'm going to reach out to that person. Most probably, I'm going to be following them on maybe Instagram, and let's say the most common ones, Instagram and LinkedIn. If they post something on Instagram that I like, probably I will comment or maybe send them a DM. I just saw your post. It was great to hear from you. I'm happy to see, like, I don't know, you're playing with your kids, whatever it is. So I just keep that kind of relationship, and same on LinkedIn. Does that answer your question, or you were thinking something else?
Yes, because from my point of view, in my recent stage, I'm still at a very early stage to build this networking. So how to reach out in a reasonable way, and sometimes confused to me, because I want to build very strong relationship with those guys who are working in my area, and I did find I have so many common things with them, and they might be interested. And I'm wondering, could I just send email, or like just a light greeting by email, like just 3 sentences to say that I'm interested in the field you are doing. Could we discuss further? Is this kind of acceptable ways that people might think it is good?
Yeah, now I understand what you were saying. You're asking like how to reach out to people when you see them online and you still don't know them, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, what you shared is great. What I would do, because I'm assuming the person that you are interested in, you saw something of interest, right? So it's either same field, a job you're interested in, from the same, maybe they come from the same country, or so there's some commonalities. So then I would start with that, like what really genuinely interested you about that person. So let's say if I use my example with that gentleman, Keith, what stood out for me that he helps impact-driven entrepreneurs. So I mentioned that. So yeah, you can start with that interest. What attracted you to them? And then say, I'm curious to learn more. Are you open for a 15-minute Zoom chat or team chat? Something of that sort. How
So
does that feel?
as you said, people most of the time might happy to help somebody if they could, right? So the worst results might just be they didn't reply me. It's not a kind of loss to me, but a kind of practice to how to make connections.
Exactly.
And I really appreciate impressive that you said you keep 3 times reach out per week, at least for 3 people. How you do that? Just by like the social media, like click the thumbs up button, or you did talk with them per week?
Mhm. Usually, yeah, LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
Like when and then I don't look for them, so it's not like I'm on the lookout for people. It's just they when someone comes on my news feed that I find interesting, maybe I read something about their, or maybe they're commenting or something that grabs my attention. Then if I click on their profile and I see, yeah, that's interesting, then I reach out. And if you start using, let's say, LinkedIn on a regular basis, that's gonna even pop up more and more and more, and then the network start growing, and then there's even more possibilities and more people that pop up on your newsfeed.
Did you went to any school in Canada? Do you use the source of alumni?
Yeah, that's a great one. No.
No.
But that's a great resource. Yeah, if you are part of a university, you can use the alumni for sure, because that network is huge by itself. So you can start with your small circle. You don't even have to start with strangers. So that's a great point. You can start with your network, with your friends of friends. Oh, sorry about that. And then you start with your alumni, etc.
Yeah, and just to add, we already had a session before about networking. Yelin, if you want to check our YouTube channel, you will find lots of resources about the networking, how to do that in today's COVID world. So if you want to check that out, it's definitely going to give you lots of resources.
Did you put the link in the chat?
I will do it now.
Okay, thank you so much.
No
I think
problem.
I have finished my question. Thank you so much.
No
Thank you
problem.
for answering. Yes.
Welcome. Thanks for asking. And that's great that you have a session recorded on that. I'll check it out myself. So I'm going to go back to my slides and talk about the last section, which is self-awareness. In my opinion, that's where it all starts. So maybe I should have presented it in a different way, because first is self-awareness. You understand yourself, and that's part of the mindset. And then like you start with the relationship with yourself before you start relationship with others. So let me share my screen. Oops, oh, sorry. I'm so sorry about that. All right, self-awareness. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can see it.
Great. So self-awareness, what it means is looking inside, like trying to understand ourselves. So looking at ourselves from 360 degrees, like what was my experience? What did I do in the past? What inspires me? What motivates me? So all these reflective questions, which you can start asking yourselves to learn more about yourselves. And if you're interested in that, I can later on send a link with questions that you can ask yourself. One of the questions is look at your, or reflections, to look at your skill set, because now you're immigrating to a new country, you want to examine the skills you have, because you might have skills that you took for granted that you never thought about. So maybe it's now time to take a stock. Okay, what skills do I have? Even simple things like, I don't know, you're great at Excel. That's a great skill. So what I will invite you to do is like get a paper and a pen and just start listing down all the skills from the smallest to the biggest. And that just gives you an understanding of your skill sets. And see, all right, what do I need to do? Do self-assessments to learn more about yourself. There's so many self-assessment platforms online, free of charge. There's one, for example, called 16 Personalities. It gives you a breakdown of your main traits. There's Strength Finder, identify your key strength. So you can do these kind of assessments to learn more about yourself and ask yourself, what are my key strengths? What are my challenges or weaknesses? And once you identify your strength, ask yourself, how can I capitalize on that? So if I'm a great writer, how can I use that to my advantage in a new country? Maybe I write blog posts. Maybe I write articles on LinkedIn for people to get to know a bit about me. So whatever skill set you have, reflect how you can use it to your advantage. And then you can, of course, develop goals based on what you realize you need and work towards that. So that's one part of the puzzle. Strength, like I mentioned, that's a key one. Personality types. So I highly recommend, there's a personality type online called 16personalities.com. So it's 16 personalities. It breaks down your personality, including introvert, extrovert, if you're more a structured person or creative person. So it gives you all that breakdown, and it's free of charge, and it gives you the strengths and weaknesses. So that gives you an idea, okay, these are my strengths, how can I use them to my advantage? Look at your past education, certifications, even small ones. Maybe you've done, I don't know, search engine optimization certificate like 6 years ago in your home country. That can be beneficial here. Look at your professional background. So again, that's something to reflect on. And what are your core values? What do you value most? I personally find values are like a compass. It really helps you navigate decision making and helps you feel empowered and grounded when you know what are the top, let's say, 5 things that are valuable for you. And with values, you can also identify what kind of jobs you want to look for, or careers, or kind of friendships you want to build. And the way to do values is, there's different ways of doing it. One way is reflect on the best moments in your life and think what was happening during those times for when I was feeling at the peak. That can give you a glimpse on what you value. And you can also look at the worst or the lowest lows in your life and see why was it that low. That can give you an idea what wasn't working or what needs were not met. So you can start this way and then arrive to your 5 top values. Or you can even Google value exercises, and there's few of them online that can help you. Another key question is, what's your why? Why you do what you do? Why are you in this kind of field? Asking yourself this question, why, really helps you handle the challenges. When you're passionate, or you know why you're passionate about something and why you like it, when you face challenges in your life, you keep going because you know where you're going. You know that's why you're doing what you're doing. There's a video online, a TED Talk, I highly recommend, and I can share it in the resources later. It's called Start With Your Why by Simon Sinek. It's a great video, explains why it's so important to understand your why. There's another word for seeing this. It's what's your purpose, but not in a cliche way. It's what's the purpose, why you wake up in the morning, what are you looking forward to? So identifying that really helps. And once you have that self-awareness, you want to communicate yourself to the world, and that's through personal branding. So if I go back to the example of building relationships, and we were talking about LinkedIn, personal branding is not about online branding. It's but that's one form. Personal branding is, or that's a definition that I really resonate with. It's about unearthing what is true and unique about you and letting everyone know about it. So the unearthing is what we were talking about, self-understanding, trying to understand yourself and what is true and what's unique about you. And once you identify that and you're sure about it, then you just let everyone know about it. So it's very authentic. It's not manipulation. You present your authentic self once you have that clear understanding of yourself. That's another definition I like. It's the way others remember you through your actions, expertise, and emotional connections. So how you behave day to day, what are the actions you make, and the expertise you have, and the emotional connections you make with people. And the last, third definition, they're all the same, but I like each one because each of them presents something else. Here it says it is a strategic process that makes you an active partner in creating the direction of your life. So this kind of conversation we're having now, it's kind of strategic process. You're looking at yourself, you're examining what works for you, what are your strengths, what are your challenges, how can you capitalize on your strength, how to build relationships. This is all a process that you're being active. You're not being passive and sitting at home and waiting for things to happen. You're being active in creating that for yourself. And personal branding, sometimes people immediately think it's all about online, but personal branding, it's both equal, online and offline. How you show up every day, how you show up at work, how you walk in the street, how you talk to people. So it's not just online. And with offline, there's many ways to present your brand. Volunteering, that's a great way to get into the culture and society, especially for newcomers. In the beginning, I volunteered, and I still volunteer for many companies. That's a great way to get to know the culture. And that's another way of presenting yourself. Joining groups like Meetup, teaching or coaching a class, or doing a talk like this one, being involved in panel discussions, workshops, and going to events. This is all not online. This is all offline interactions that can build your brand. And there's, of course, the online. I would suggest the first step to that is to Google yourself. See what's out there. When you Google yourself, what comes up. And the reason why I suggest to do that is just to know, because people or hiring managers, they're gonna Google you when they receive your resume. So be proactive by doing that and seeing what's out there. Maybe there's opportunity for you. Let's say, I don't know, there's some pictures that you feel don't represent your new brand or your new personality. And you want to, let's say, I don't know, hide your Facebook pictures. So that just gives you an opportunity to be proactive and see what's out there and then decide what you want to do with it. There's a quote by a personal branding expert, William Aroda. He says, if you don't show up on Google, you don't exist. I know it's a strong statement, but I see the value of it. So have some kind of presence. I would say the minimum, a LinkedIn profile. And there's so many statistics online. I have only this one here, that 94% of recruiters, they're gonna Google you. And this is an old statistics. That slide I had for maybe 3 years. I imagine now it's even higher. So it's important to have, to be aware of how's your social media presence is, because they're gonna Google you.
We can actually ask Mike, what does he normally do when he gets a resume? So Mike, do you want to chime in here?
Yeah, sure. What I do is I usually look them up on LinkedIn and I look and see their connections. I'm not very much on Facebook. I'm not actually on Facebook. So, and I just Googled myself, but there's another Michael Jaber out there who's got Facebook and TikTok and his videos, and it's not me. So be wary of someone with the similar last name or same last name. So, but what we do is the good point is that I looked them up on LinkedIn and I looked up, see if they belong to any groups and what groups they're, if they're software developers. I'm more into IT, of course. But back to your point about be careful of what you put on social media. And I've got 2 grown boys and men, and if they go out together, the younger guy will tell the older guy, don't post any of these pictures on there on Facebook, because you know what I mean? You don't want anybody seeing them if he's going for a job or anything else. And that's his worry, because he's like an executive, and he doesn't like that kind of, you know, posting. So and it's zero posting. He won't post anything, you know, which is, you know, which is okay, which is great, because as you say, some of the, you know, hiring managers and companies will look you up. Actually, there's an ad on TV where it's saying, oh, great, you got the job and this and that. And then all of a sudden they'll say, oh, sorry, but we looked you up and did you still owe money or have problems with this company? Oh my God, they're still posting that. And it's, you know, you've got to be very careful with social media, you know?
Yes, I agree. Thanks for sharing that. That's important. And you raised a great point. Part of Googling yourself is to see if someone else has your name, because if that's the case, also for you to be aware and not be surprised. And maybe you can do something about it. Like, for example, sometimes there's a person with your name. What you could do, add an initial, and then that separate you from them. So at least to be proactive to see what's out there.
Good.
Thank you.
Good point. You're welcome.
Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I want to go back to the slides. Where was I? Oh, the importance of, yeah. So they'll Google you. And with speaking of social media, LinkedIn is a great tool because, one, Google trusts LinkedIn the most out of all platforms. So if you're on LinkedIn and someone Googles your name, you're guaranteed to for your name to be first on Google when someone searches your name. So that's a great thing. It's like free SEO for you. And then that takes you to the second point. If that your name shows the first, then you want to make sure you have a solid LinkedIn. So if you don't, I encourage you to start looking at LinkedIn. Like, have a great profile picture that's clear. What I mean by great is clear and not cropped, good resolution. Have your name clear, what you do, a great summary. If you can get testimonials from previous employers, that helps. And then once you have that all set up, then the next step is to interact with people, commenting, liking, engaging in the conversation. The reason why that's beneficial is every time you interact on LinkedIn, your name shows on the news feed of the friends of friends of friends. So that's how you get the brand awareness and exposure. And then if you want to take it to the next step, you can start posting. Like an article you like, something related to your personal brand or your area of expertise. And then when recruiters look at your LinkedIn, they see you're active, you're posting articles, you're engaged in the community, which is can be a good thing. And also joining groups that's related to your industry. And that's, again, part of networking. And why it's important to have also a good complete profile is because when you reach out to other people on LinkedIn, asking them, saying, I like this thing about you and I would like to meet you, when they see you have a solid background, that also, or not background, solid profile, that also helps. If they look at your profile, there's no image or the title's not clear, they might ignore the message. So when you have like a fleshed out profile, that really helps the acceptance rate. So to recap, it's all about the mindset, having that growth mindset, open to possibilities, and to adapt to a new environment, not to get caught up in the stories that you hear from other people. Like, I hear stories, oh, immigrants, you're gonna be 3 years unemployed, you're gonna end up driving a taxi, there's nothing wrong with that, but these are all assumptions and beliefs that are incorrect. That's just what people say. And some people fall into that trap. And they come here with that mentality. There's no opportunities, there's no jobs, and that doesn't help. So having the growth mindset to examine these stories, are they true or are they just what my cousin said 10 years ago? So just examine those beliefs, look for opportunities, be creative in how to reach out to people. And then relationships, it's key, building relationships. And I illustrated in my example how it opens so many doors. And the third is the self-awareness, understanding. Because the more you understand yourself, the more empowered you feel, the more confident you become. So that's what I wanted to share for today. I'd love to, if you have any questions, anything you want me to add, please let me know.
Thank you, Faris. You can open it up for any questions if you want to raise your hand or just maybe unmute yourself and chime in here. This is an opportunity for you to be curious and, whatever in your mind, just get it out.
And feel free to reach out to me. I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, and website, all under the same name, my first name and last name, Faris Khalifeh. I see a hand, digital hand.
Yeah, Muhammad, go ahead, Muhammad.
Yeah, thank you very much, Faris, for this information. I really appreciate it. I have one question, and feel free to answer it or no. What is the big challenge you faced when you establish your business, and
That's
how you handle it?
That's a great question. I forgot to ask this question in the beginning. I assumed you're all maybe looking for a job, but how many people are considering to start their own businesses?
Yeah,
Ahmed, are you
on the track, actually. I am on the track.
Either this or that. The challenge, believe it or not, goes back to the mindset. It's not the logistical stuff. It's not about like getting a business license, getting all that. This is all easy. It's especially these days. It's all online. It's the mindset. It's to stay positive and keep going, because it's not easy. It's, of course, like anything else. There's ups and downs. There's sometimes tough days. Sometimes clients don't come to you. So there's that struggle. But so the challenge, I would say, having the right mindset to keep going and not let these small challenges, or not small challenges, affect your goal. Which brings me back to understanding your why you're starting your business. What is it about that business that keeps you excited? Because if you're not super excited about the business, when you face challenges, you might give up. But if you have a super like passion around it, you'll keep going.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Have a business plan. And have a business plan.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, this is one of the basic stuff. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, I can maybe add to this, Mohammed. Invest Ottawa here is a non-for-profit organization that helps entrepreneurs, go through their entrepreneurial journey. So they do workshops every day. And when I came to Canada, I used to attend all those workshops to understand what's happening in the business, what's happening everywhere. And this helped me a lot within my job search as well. So if you're in Toronto, there is another organization called Mars. Maybe in Vancouver, there is some other organization, but each city has its own companies or non-for-profit that help entrepreneurs. So I would recommend, if you're really serious about doing your business, go and join those organizations.
Yeah, I already joined them and I attended several workshops.
Excellent.
Cool.
Yeah,
thank you very much. Thank you.
No, okay. Good question. Anyone else? So we're almost on time, and we can maybe open up for another question or two before we take the selfie and give you back your your evening. Anyone else?
I have a general question for anyone who wants to, to share their experience, and it's about when you're a newcomer. Usually, you bring with you, an academic background in a specific area, but how to overcome this kind of situation and feeling of being afraid that you are going into a different area. The immigration path that you took is taking you to a different area, and you start thinking, oh, I'm not gonna ever get back to my original academic area and professional background. How to manage that, how to overcome that afraid and be open to new opportunities.
Yeah, if I would take that one, Faris. So the thing is, nothing is constant in this life, everything is changing every day, like, if you see the video for the future of work, you will understand how much changes are happening today. Like, within 50 years back, you have one degree, one job for 30, 40 years, and then you retire. Today, you have one degree, you have 16 job with one degree. And this job could change every 2 years. 10 years back, there was no Uber. So to Faris' point, the mindset, how do you really adapt and how do you take that step to start, looking at things that is never gonna be the same, and you should be okay with that. It's not gonna be always what you used to do. This comfort zone is not gonna be there anymore. You have to continuously know that things are changing, and it's your adaptability, your mindset, your way to become comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Well, it's just like Faris. When Faris came to Canada, he changed from his marketing career back there to what he's doing now. So, I mean, he took that. He decided, I'm going to change my career and go into something else that I really love and enjoy doing. And there's a prime example of someone who's not doing, and well, he did some of the marketing, but completely changed his career. You're almost like a chameleon. Sometimes you've got to change the color of your skin to adapt to the environment.
Yeah.
So.
And also to add, like, you're not cheating, you're not lying when you're changing. This is something that you have to keep in mind, that change is part of life. And when you're adapting to that new normal, you're not stealing somebody's else job, or you're taking advantage of somebody. No, this is normal. Like, this is how things work today. So again, because at the beginning, the mindset for me was, well, I don't want to say that I'm doing this while I'm not really ready for it yet, but I keep developing myself to be ready for it. Does that help, Pablo?
Yeah, yes, a lot. I mean, it's something that probably a lot of people, a lot of newcomers have to deal with, because it's something that you need to change, like a chip that you have into your head, and you need to change it.
True. It takes time. It takes time for sure. It's not easy. It takes time. Good question.
But I love that what you shared. The other day, there was an article that talks about the best skill you want to have for this century is adaptability, like you were saying.
Yes.
And sometimes people have that connotation being, and like you said, Ahmed, like being a chameleon, people can look at it from a negative way. You're being manipulative, but it's not. It's adapting. It's not in a negative way, in a honorable way. You know what I mean? So it's not cheating, just adapting, because things are changing so quickly these days.
Yeah. Good question. Any final question before we, take the selfie?
Hi. I don't know who I'm going to ask, but in my mind, the person who can adapt to any situation it must be a lifelong learner. So I did agree with that. You said that the only thing that's don't change is the change itself. Always ready to learn some new things. So I have a question. Have you ever felt that's not so confident about yourself when you face some like new technologies, or maybe this field is far away from what you are familiar with? What do you find is the most effective way to help yourself adapt to those situations? Like, for example, maybe you can reach out for friends, or you can ask for some professional people, or you can find some online resources. Which way do you find is the most effective way to help yourself to adapt to the new environment or new technology?
Great question. And I would say all the above. Continuous learning, like you said, like I personally read one book a week. So continuous learning, relationships, again, like in terms of surrounding yourself with growth-minded people. So maybe mentors, coaches, people that you can learn from. There's a quote I really like. It says, you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with. So if you hang out with the growth-minded people, they will lift you up and help you. So the resources around you, the people, the learning, all that can help you. And of course, the self-knowledge that will keep you grounded.
One more question. Do you have any experience that you asked for somebody to mentor you, and how you do this?
I can take that one, Faris. So yeah, so for you, Yelin, in Ottawa, there is lots of organization that helps mentoring. One of the mentors who work with OSISU, for example, the Ottawa Community for Immigrants, and they have lots of sessions for that. So if you want to join them, and they would hire a mentor for you. We're also working on a mentoring program on our end, so we'll start that soon. So maybe you can join that mentorship. And in LinkedIn, it's now so much easy. Just type mentor in the search in LinkedIn in your city, and maybe just put a comma to put, let's say, financial, if your field is in finance, or whatever your field is, and then you will find a mentor. Just connect with him or her. Ask them if they are okay to mentor you. Simple as that.
Wow,
I believe that is the same question in the YouTube channel.
Exactly.
I remember that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Another thing, we are talking about technology. I went to an interview and they asked me about a system that I have never worked before. So I'm learning now on LinkedIn Learning how to use the system. And I didn't even get the job yet, but I'm preparing myself for the future. I'm not sure if I will get or not, but I'm preparing myself.
Yeah, the more you learn, the more you become aware and become easily adaptable to those jobs. There is a quote that says, "The more you know, the more you know that you don't know." so it's a good quote that makes you think about how do you know more. Did that answer your question, Yelin?
Yes, definitely. Perfect question. Perfect answers. I really like your different aspects. Yeah, I like your different perspectives and your point of view. Really deep and profounding.
Excellent. So let's maybe, if you are comfortable coming in camera, we can take that group selfie and give you back your evening. So we'll give it a few seconds. If you're comfortable, you want to join the selfie. We'd be happy to take that smile together.
Let me try.
Yeah, nice.
Hi. Actually, I right now live in Canada. Around
nice.
my neighbor, there are a lot of high-tech company. While I majored in engineering, so I have a background of civil engineering and specifically in the hydraulic engineering. So I did have some experience of the simulation on the computer. I don't know whether you know this numerical simulation, and also have experience of the lab experience. So have very strong background of hydraulics.
Yeah, myself and Mike, we're both in Canada, so maybe someday we could have a coffee or tea together when COVID stops us from going out. But yeah, feel free to reach out to Lynn. I can help you offline if you want.
You're also in Canada?
Yes.
Oh, nice to know you.
Okay. Take care. Okay, are you all ready? Do you want to maybe smile on the number 3? When I say 1, 2, 3, you give me your best smile, please. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and smile. Cool. Thank you so much, Faris. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. And this really, another great session. And your
Great session.
collaboration is the one that is mostly gonna make a difference for you to get to the job. So keep coming, keep asking questions, keep being curious. This is how you will grow, how you will learn, how you will make new friends, new network, and how you will get the job. So and connect with me offline, connect with Faris, connect with Mike. We're all here to help you. Whatever you want.
100%.
Any final
Awesome.
words, Faris, Mike?
No, all
Such
is
a
good.
pleasure being here. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Faris.
Great
Thanks, everybody.
presentation. Thank you very much.
Enjoy the rest of the night. Take
Thank
care.
you.
You too.
We,
Thank you.
yeah,
Bye bye.
Good
Okay.
evening
nice
to
to meet you
everybody
guys.
out
I
there.
learned a lot. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.